welcome back to my 30 Days of Shakespeare. Tonight I'm reading Claudio's I but to die and go we know not where from Measure for Measure. Now I chose this one partly because I love Measure for Measure and I like how challenging it is in that not all the characters are likable, almost none of the characters are likable. And I think Claudio is no exception. I think Claudio is very much driven by fear. And I think this monologue particularly is a great exercise for actors in connecting to imagery, because the imagery is incredible, talking about, the great beyond and what might lie in store for us. And it's driven by this fear, this very present, visceral fear of death and what it lies before him. And I think for any actors, it's a great exercise to be able to visualize and connect to that visual imagery, but also to connect to a fear that is probably not something that you've experienced in your own life. So good for auditions because it's not too long, but certainly if you are someone who wants to just get better at Shakespeare, I think this is a good one to play around with. And because you want to get variety as well, which I will I'll see if I can demonstrate some of those things that I'm talking about, but certainly I'm going to try and find variety so the imagery doesn't end up being repetitive. Let's see what happens. Aye, but to die and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot. This sensible warm motion to become a kneaded clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick-ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worse than worst of those that lawless and in certain thought imagine howling. 'Tis too horrible. The weariest and most loathed worldly life that age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lay on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death. I would space out that last bit more, to what we fear of death. So this is a really interesting one of practicing. I saw an actor audition just the other day with Macbeth's Tomorrow and all that, Sound and Fury. And in his effort to really make the most of that poetry, it became very broken up and it actually disconnected from the breath and from the emotion because he was sort of spacing out the words too much in his effort to make the most of each word. And I think this is quite a common thing with actors, is that there's too much effort going on in each word and there's a disconnect from flow. And I'm always pro flow is me. But the risk is, as what happens with me often, is that I go too fast. We're always working towards balance. This is a really, really good monologue to practice with. And I still don't think I really found as much variety as is needed. But I think I found shape. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to critique me. I know some of you will, and I love it. So thank you for watching, and please take this monologue and play around with it. See you next time.